Back with us now, Congressman Jason Smith. He's a ranking member of House Budget. Sir, I'd like you to listen to House Speaker Pelosi attacking the Supreme Court today as a ban on stock trading moves through Congress. That would have stopped her husband earning tens of millions of dollars in stock gains while she was on the job. Watch her go after the Supreme Court instead on this. Watch.
We make a disclosure every year of our financial disclosure. That's what it is. The court system, the third branch of government, the judiciary, has no reporting. The Supreme Court has no disclosure. It has no reporting of stock transactions, and it makes important decisions every day. But the Supreme Court and the judiciary, even the chairman, the Chief Justice, has pointed out some of what he flirted with the word, or maybe used the word, scandals that have happened in the judiciary. There's another consideration, as you know, in the executive branch, when they divest of their stock, they don't pay capital gains.
Why is she taking shots at the Supreme Court and the judiciary and the executive branch?
What's clear, Nancy Pelosi does not like sunshine on her family's portfolio, her family stock trades. And it's interesting, you look at how successful her family has been with their portfolio. For some reason, they tend to have higher yields, higher percentage of gains than average Americans. And she's also the one that gets to decide what pieces of legislation get to be debated, which ones possibly might pass. And those decisions have a huge impact on a lot of companies that possibly her family's investing in. I think the more transparency, the better. How dare her to try to go after the Supreme Court just to try to take away the focus of what's going on in her backyard.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've lost a sense of shame in this country. I mean, there's more attacks on the Supreme Court than ever. You know, Joy Reid of MSNBC is calling them racists. It's so off the wall. And it's sort of like, you know, they don't have any discretion anymore in what they say. And now Senators Elizabeth Warren and Steve Daines, they introduced a bipartisan bill to ban members of Congress from owning and trading stocks. We're going to stay on that story. But Biden's approval rating just crashed through the 40% threshold in the real clear average. Inflation is an issue. We have the White House still saying no to ramping up U.S. oil production and gas production. We have also inflation at 40-year highs. Let's listen to this from Representative Jim Jordan. He almost hit the ceiling when he heard Roy Kahana, congressman from California, attack the oil majors for increasing production as gas is hitting multi-year highs. Watch this.
You don't have to, question anyone's intentions. His intentions were clear because he said to the CEO of Chevron, he said, "Are you embarrassed as an American company that your production's going up?" I mean, to me, that's one of the craziest questions I've ever heard. You ask the CEO of a company, are you embarrassed that you're making more of your product and selling more of your product? I thought that's what you're supposed to do. So I don't think it's questioning their intentions. Their intentions are clear. They want to destroy the oil and gas industry in this country, and they want to continue to drive up the cost of energy, drive up the cost of goods and services, and they must like this 40-year high inflation.
There's no shortage on stupidity in the Democrat Party. We might be run by the most idiotic bunch we've ever seen in the history of this country. They're going to ask OPEC and Russia to increase production, but attacking our oil majors who create a lot of jobs for increasing production. Can you square this?
I'll tell you, Jim Jordan has it right in the clip that you just played. From day one of President Biden's administration, he did executive orders to make the United States less energy independent. In fact, he fired thousands, by an executive order, stroke of a pen, thousands of union workers to eliminate the Keystone Pipeline, directly impacting energy. This administration and Washington Democrats want to be beholden to Russia for energy and not our own country. They want the energy prices to soar so everyone will try to run towards their electric cars, their green energy policies. Even the Secretary of Energy laughed when you talked about prices of gasoline increasing. They are so out of touch with everyday Americans, Liz, but this is what they want. They're pushing their policies. This is what happens when you have one-party rule of the Democrat Socialist Party, and they can control everything. And that's why everyone are seeing the prices at the supermarket, the prices at the gas pump, the prices on everything skyrocketing, the highest it's been in 40 years, because of the policies of one-party rule of the Socialist Democrat Party.
Congressman Jason Smith, it's good to see you. Come back soon.